Hey Reddit. I never thought I'd be one of those people posting here, but here I am, sitting in my car outside a coffee shop at 1 a.m., trying to process the fact that my wife of 9 years has been lying to me for God knows how long. I don't even know where to start, so I guess I'll rewind a bit. I met Lisa, not her real name, when we were both in our mid-20s. She was loud, confident, and had this kind of magnetic energy that made people gravitate toward her. I was quieter, more of the listen first, talk later type, and I think that's what she liked about me. We balanced each other out. Or at least I thought we did. For most of our marriage, things were good. Not perfect, but good enough that I never imagined she'd betray me. We had our routines, Saturday morning pancakes, Netflix binges on the couch, little inside jokes that made us feel like our own team against the world. But a few months ago, I started noticing changes. Small at first, she got busier at work, started dressing up more, like, way more than usual. Even when she said she was just meeting a friend, she suddenly had a password on her phone which she brushed off as just for work privacy. I tried not to think too much of it. I told myself she deserved her space, that I was being paranoid. We'd been married almost a decade, surely I could trust her, right? But deep down, something felt off. She stopped laughing at my jokes. She'd pick fights over tiny things, like me leaving a coffee cup in the sink or forgetting to take the trash out. The woman who used to send me goofy selfies from the office suddenly couldn't even look me in the eye when I asked how her day was. I started sleeping poorly. My gut told me something was wrong, but every time I tried to bring it up, she'd twist it around. You're being controlling, she'd say. You're imagining things. I wanted to believe her. God, I needed to believe her. But looking back now, that was the beginning of the end. It happened on a random Tuesday. One of those days where nothing special is supposed to happen. I got home early from work because a meeting got canceled. Normally, I'd text Lisa to see if she wanted takeout or coffee, but that day I thought, why not surprise her? Her car wasn't in the driveway, but her gym bag was gone, so I figured she was at spin class. She'd been into fitness lately. New leggings, new sports bras, protein shakes cluttering the kitchen counter. I was honestly happy for her. She'd always complained about not having time for herself. Anyway, I walked into the house, fed our dog, and went to plug in my phone charger in the living room. That's when I saw her iPad sitting on the coffee table. Screen lit up with notifications. Normally, I wouldn't touch it. I'm not the snooping type, but something caught my eye. A text preview that said, "Last night was incredible. Can't stop thinking about you." At first, I froze. My brain just stalled. I stared at that little message bubble like maybe if I looked long enough, it would morph into something innocent. Maybe it was one of her girlfriends joking around, or a wrong number. But then another message popped up. "Wish I could see you again tonight. Same place." I swear I could hear my heartbeat in my ears. I picked up the iPad, opened the messages, and there it was, a whole thread of texts from some guy saved under Melissa work cute. Real subtle. The messages weren't even coded well. Stuff like "you looked so sexy in that dress and can't wait to feel you again." It felt like someone had pulled the ground out from under me. My hands were shaking so bad I almost dropped the iPad. And here's the kicker. The last text was sent just 20 minutes earlier, which meant she wasn't at spin class. She was with him. I remember standing there, not sure what to do. Call her, drive around until I found her car, smash the iPad, cry. I did none of those things. I just sat down on the couch and stared at the screen numb. I waited, and waited, and waited. 2 hours later, she walked in. Hair messy, cheeks flushed, wearing a dress I hadn't seen before. I remember how she smiled like nothing was wrong. "Hey babe," she said, setting her purse down. "You're home early." And that's when the first crack in my voice gave me away. "Who's Melissa?" I asked. Her smile faltered, just for a second, but I saw it. That second told me everything. She blinked, once, twice, and then let out this short, fake laugh. "Melissa? Oh my God, are you serious?" she said, shaking her head like I'd just accused her of robbing a bank. "She's a girl from work, honey. She's been going through a breakup and sends me these weird texts sometimes." I told her to stop, but she's just dramatic. I just stared at her. My hands were still shaking, but I managed to keep my voice even. "You expect me to believe that? You literally have messages from Melissa saying, 'Can't wait to feel you again.'" She rolled her eyes. rolled her eyes, like I was the one being unreasonable. You must have misread it, she said. Or maybe you're seeing what you want to see because you've been acting paranoid lately. That word again, paranoid. I told her I saw the messages. I described them word for word. Her tone changed instantly. The defensiveness dropped and she went into damage control mode. Okay, she said, sighing like this was somehow exhausting for her. Look, it's not what you think. It was just flirting. It didn't mean anything. Flirting. My stomach twisted. So you admit it, I said. You're cheating on me. No, she snapped. It wasn't cheating. We were just talking. It got a little flirty. Yeah, but it wasn't serious. You know how people are online. The thing is, it wasn't online. These weren't DMS. These were texts on her iPad, and the timestamps lined up perfectly with when she claimed she was at spin class. I remember saying, "You're lying, Lisa. Just tell me the truth." She crossed her arms, her voice turning cold. "If you're going to accuse me of things, then maybe I should just go stay with my sister until you calm down." That right there, the deflection, the manipulation. It hit me harder than any confession could've. She wasn't sorry. She wasn't even scared of losing me. She was just angry that she got caught. I didn't stop her when she went upstairs to pack a bag. I just sat there on the couch, listening to the sound of hangers scraping the closet rod, drawers slamming shut, and my heart breaking in slow motion. When she walked out the door 20 minutes later, she didn't look back. Just before she left, she said one last thing. "You need to get your trust issues under control." And then she was gone. That night, I barely slept. I kept replaying everything. Her tone, her words, the way she acted, more annoyed than guilty. I wanted to believe maybe she was telling the truth, that maybe I was overreacting. But deep down, I knew something didn't add up. The next morning, I woke up to an empty house. Her toothbrush was gone. So were half her clothes. Number note, no text, nothing. Just silence. I sat there for hours staring at that damn iPad. I told myself I wouldn't go through it again, that I'd respect her privacy, even now, but then I remembered she'd already crossed that line. So I opened everything. Messages, emails, photos, cloud backups, and that's when I found it. A series of photos in her recently deleted folder. They weren't graphic, but they didn't need to be. Her in that same dress she'd been wearing the night before. Her sitting in a booth at some dimly lit restaurant. Her holding a man's hand across the table. Same ring on his finger in every shot. She had screenshots of their conversations too. One she must save before deleting the thread from her iPhone. Stuff like, "I told him I'm working late again tonight. Can't wait to see you. You smell so good I still can't sleep. Don't worry. He won't find out. He never looks." That last one broke me. I remember closing the iPad slowly, setting it on the coffee table, and just staring at the wall. Everything went quiet, like my brain couldn't handle the noise of being betrayed anymore. For a long time, I didn't cry. I just sat there, completely hollow. Then I saw her wedding ring sitting in the dish by the front door. The one she used to toss her keys into every night, and that's when I lost it. I think I screamed. I don't even remember the sound, just the release. Years of trust, love, and effort unraveling all at once. And then, as if the universe wanted to twist the knife, my phone buzzed. It was a message from her. "I think we both need space right now. Don't make this harder than it has to be." Space. That's what she called it. I didn't respond. Not yet. I knew if I did, it would come out as pure rage. And I wanted to be smarter than that. I wanted proof, undeniable, solid proof. So that's when I made the decision to dig deeper. After finding those photos, I knew I needed more than screenshots if I wanted closure. Or maybe just the truth shoved so hard in my face I couldn't keep doubting it. The thing is, part of me still hoped I was wrong. That maybe this guy was some weird emotional fling. That maybe it hadn't gone all the way. I kept replaying old memories in my head, our wedding, our vacations, how she used to fall asleep on my chest, trying to make it all line up with the version of her who'd text another man. "I can't wait to feel you again." I couldn't make it fit. So I called in a favor from an old friend, Mark, who runs a small business and knows his way around digital forensics. I told him everything. He didn't even hesitate. "Bring me the iPad," he said. "I'll see what I can recover." By the next day, had restored a whole string of deleted texts, location history, even some photos she thought she'd wiped for good. It was all there. Hotel addresses, timestamps, Uber receipts, and the same name over and over again. Eric, a co-worker, married, to kids. They'd been sneaking around for at least 5 months. Every spin class, every late work meeting, every girls' night. All of it was him. When Mark handed me the folder with everything inside, he looked at me and said, "Man, I'm sorry. She's been playing you." I think that's when the anger finally replaced the heartbreak. For the first time in weeks, I felt clear. I wasn't crazy. I wasn't paranoid. I wasn't the insecure husband she made me out to be. So I came up with a plan. She had been texting less since she left, probably thinking I'd sit at home crying or waiting for her to cool off. But she was still using our shared Apple account, which meant her location still updated every few hours. All I had to do was wait for the next work trip. 2 nights later, I got my chance. Around 6:30 p.m., I saw her location ping near a hotel about 30 minutes away. One of those mid-range business places with beige walls and 2 bright lobby lights. Her text that morning had said, "Busy day. Late meeting. Don't wait up." Right. I sat in my car for a long time before leaving. My hands were shaking so bad I could barely put the key in the ignition. Part of me felt insane, like some jealous click straight out of a bad movie. But the other part of me needed to see it with my own eyes. I needed to erase that tiny, stubborn sliver of hope still whispering, "Maybe it's not what you think." I parked a block away and waited. Around 7:15, she pulled up in her car. Same one she'd bought 6 months ago for commuting. I watched as she stepped out, wearing a short black dress and heels, laughing into her phone. A minute later, he showed up, Eric. I didn't need an introduction. I recognized him from the work Christmas party last year. The guy what slapped me on the back and told me I was lucky to have a wife like Lisa. They hugged in the parking lot. Not a friendly hug, the kind that lingers, that means something. Then they kissed, right there, under a flickering street light, like I didn't exist. And that's when it hit me. She wasn't just cheating. She was happy about it. Carefree, like our entire marriage was just some inconvenient chapter she was waiting to close. I didn't confront them right then. I couldn't. My chest hurt so bad I thought I might actually pass out. So I just drove away. When I got home, I sat in the dark for a long time. The house felt alien, too big, too quiet, like I was visiting someone else's life. Her coffee mug was still on the counter. Her hairbrush was still by the sink. Little ghosts of her everywhere, mocking me. I wanted to call her, to scream, to ask why, but what would she say? Another lie? Another excuse? Instead, I took photos of the messages, the hotel address, the timestamp from her location, evidence, and then I did something I didn't expect. I texted her, "Hope your meeting went well." I wanted to see what lie she'd come up with this time. About 20 minutes after I sent that text, she replied, "Yeah, just wrapped up. So tired. Heading home soon." I just stared at it. The gall. She was probably still at the hotel, maybe even lying next to him. And she had the nerve to text me like everything was normal. I typed back, "Long meeting, huh?" No reply for 10 minutes. Then 15. Then 20. I almost thought she wasn't going to answer. Then it came in. "Sorry. My phone died earlier. What's up?" I laughed out loud, one of those ugly, bitter laughs that come out when you finally stop pretending. I didn't even respond. I knew that if I said anything else, I'd tip my hand too soon. She got home around 10:30. I watched her through the window as she got out of her car, adjusting her hair in the reflection like she was coming home from a job interview, not a hookup. When she walked in, she smiled at me, like nothing was wrong. "Hey," she said casually, kicking off her heels. "You're still up?" I nodded. "How was the meeting?" She froze for half a second, subtle but I caught it. Then she shrugged and said, "Exhausting. We were going over projections for next quarter. My head's killing me." She walked straight past me to the kitchen, grabbed a glass of water, and started rambling about some imaginary coworker drama, tossing out names she hadn't mentioned in years. It was almost impressive how easily she lied, like she'd been practicing. I let her talk for a while, pretending to listen until I finally said, "That's weird." She looked up. "What's weird?" "The Marriott you were at tonight. Didn't know they held corporate meetings there." The color drained from her face. She tried to laugh it off, but it came out brittle. "What are you talking about?" "You know what I'm talking about, Lisa," I said quietly. "I saw you. I saw him." Her jaw tightened. For a second, she just stared at me, eyes darting, looking for an escape, an angle, something to twist. Then she said the words that burned themselves into my brain. "You followed me? That's insane. Not I'm sorry. Not it's not what you think. Not let me explain. Just that." That's when I realized She wasn't even afraid of losing me. She was angry that I'd ruined her game. The air in the room went cold. She stood there, arms crossed, chin up, like I was the one who had done something wrong. "Lisa," I said, trying to keep my voice steady, "don't you dare turn this on me. You've been lying for months. I know about Eric. I know about the hotel. I've seen the messages." Her eyes flickered. Guilt, panic, something. But she masked it fast. "Oh my God, you went through my stuff. You're unbelievable. You cheated on me," I said. "You lied every single day, and you have the nerve to act offended." She let out this frustrated laugh like she couldn't believe I was still pushing it. "You're being dramatic, okay? It wasn't like that. We just connected. It's not my fault you've been distant lately." That word, connected, made my blood boil. "Not your fault," I said, stepping closer. "You plan this. Every work trip, every late night, all of it was him. Don't pretend you're the victim." She scoffed, looking away. "You don't get it. You stop trying. You've been so checked out for months, and I needed someone who actually saw me. Eric listens. He makes me feel." I cut her off. Don't you dare say he makes you feel alive or any of that garbage. You could have talked to me. You could have tried. But instead, you lied every single day." She stared at me then, really stared, and for the first time I saw something behind her anger. Guilt, maybe, or fear. Then she said quietly, "I didn't mean for it to happen." That line hit me like a punch. The oldest click in the book. "You didn't mean for it to happen?" I said. "You chose it. Every text, every lie. That was a choice." For a second, neither of us said anything. Just silence and the hum of the refrigerator. Then she whispered, "I don't love you anymore." And that was it. That was the kill shot. I felt something inside me just break. Not loudly, not dramatically. Just a quiet, irreversible snap. I walked past her, grabbed my keys, and said, "Then you don't have to pretend anymore." She didn't follow me. She didn't cry or beg. She just stood there in the kitchen, arms crossed, like she'd already moved on. I drove aimlessly that night. Nowhere in particular, just away from her, from the house, from everything. At some point, I pulled over in an empty parking lot and just sat there, gripping the steering wheel until my knuckles turned white. That's when the reality hit me. This wasn't a bad dream. It was over. I didn't go home that night. I ended up sleeping, if you can call it that, in my car outside a 24-hour gas station. The kind of place where the fluorescent lights buzz loud enough to drown out your thoughts. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw her face saying, "I don't love you anymore." By sunrise, I felt like I'd aged 10 years. I went back to the house because, honestly, I didn't know what else to do. When I walked in, everything felt off. Her perfume still lingered in the hallway. Her half-empty coffee mug was still on the counter, but the energy was gone. I checked the bedroom. Half the closet was empty. She'd really done it. Packed her favorite clothes, her shoes, her hair dryer. Even took the throw blanket her mom gave us for our anniversary, like she was erasing herself one item at a time. I sat on the bed staring at the dent her pillow had left. Then I noticed something on the nightstand, a folded piece of paper. My heart jumped, stupidly thinking maybe it was an apology letter, some kind of explanation. It wasn't. It just said, "I'm sorry it had to end like this. I'll come by for the rest of my things when you're not home. Please don't make this ugly. Please don't make this ugly." I laughed, a hollow, miserable laugh that hurt my throat. She had blown up our marriage, lied to my face, slept with another man. And somehow I was the one who might make things ugly. The rest of the day was a blur. I called in sick to work. I sat on the couch for hours staring at the TV without hearing a word. At some point, I realized I hadn't eaten or showered in nearly 24 hours. I felt like a ghost in my own light. Then my phone buzzed, a text from an unknown number. "Hey, this is Eric's wife. Can we talk?" My blood ran cold. I stared at that text for a solid minute before responding. My hands were shaking again. That same jittery, sick feeling from when I first saw the messages on the iPad. I finally typed back, "Yeah. Who gave you my number?" She replied almost instantly. "Found it in his phone. You're Lisa's husband, right?" That line hit hard. Lisa's husband. Like that title still meant something, even though it didn't. We agreed to meet at a small cafe halfway between our houses later that afternoon. I didn't know what to expect. Maybe a shouting match. maybe tears, maybe just awkward silence. But when she walked in, she looked tired, not angry, not dramatic, just tired in a way that only betrayal can make you. Her name was Amanda, early 30s, sharp eyes, still wearing her work badge on a lanyard like she'd come straight from the office. She sat down across from me, gave a faint, polite smile, and said, "So I guess our spouses have been having quite the time, huh?" We talked for nearly 2 hours. She'd found the same thing I had. Texts, hotel receipts, work meetings that didn't exist. Apparently, Eric had been feeding her the same lies Lisa fed me. Overworked, distant spouse, emotional connection, all that recycled garbage. At one point, Amanda pulled out her phone and showed me screenshots. Different words, same rhythm, same tone, like they'd been reading from a script. I remember feeling something strange while looking at them. Not anger, not jealousy. Just relief. Relief that I wasn't crazy. Relief that the puzzle finally had edges. Then Amanda said something that stuck with me. "I don't think this was just an affair. I think they actually think they're in love." That one hit like a punch to the chest. Because as much as I wanted to believe it was just a fling, something meaningless, deep down, I'd seen it in Lisa's eyes. She was gone. Before we left, Amanda looked at me and said, "I'm filing for divorce. You should think about doing the same. People like them, they don't stop." When I got home, her words kept looping in my head. I opened my laptop, typed divorce lawyer near me into Google, and for the first time since this whole thing started, I didn't cry. I didn't hesitate. I just started taking my life back. A week later, I finally pulled the trigger and contacted a divorce attorney. I wasn't doing it out of spite, not really. I was doing it because staying in limbo was killing me. I needed a clean break, a line in the sand. The next day, Lisa showed up at the house unannounced. She wasn't frantic or apologetic, just her usual bitchy, polished self, like she was walking into a party she owned. "Surprised to see me?" she asked, voice dripping with mockery. I didn't answer. I just held up the envelope, the official paperwork from my lawyer. Her eyes widened for a split second. Then she laughed. "Oh my God, you're really doing this? Over what? 5 months of flirting?" I swallowed back the urge to punch something. 5 months of lying, I said. 5 months of cheating. And yes, I'm done pretending this is okay. She leaned against the doorframe, arms crossed. "You're being dramatic. You think this is all my fault. You're such a control freak sometimes." I couldn't breathe in that house. I wanted to scream. Breathe? I'd been living in her lies, not knowing if the woman I married even existed. You couldn't breathe? Funny. Neither could I. Every day for the last 5 months while you were planning how to screw me over. Her lip curled. "You know, if you actually tried to be exciting or sexy or interesting, maybe I wouldn't have looked elsewhere." I took a step closer, voice calm but deadly. "Don't you dare blame me for your choices. You did this. You chose him over me, and now I choose myself over you." She scoffed, turned on her heel, and muttered something under her breath about how self-righteous I was. Then she left. No tears, no apology. Just the door slamming behind her like it was a punctuation mark to a life she had already abandoned. I stood there for a long time, listening to the echo of that slam, realizing how much I had underestimated her capacity to lie. Not just to me, but to herself. That night, I poured a drink, sat on the couch, and for the first time in months, didn't feel hollow. I felt free. The days after filing were a weird mix of relief and devastation. Part of me felt lighter, like a weight I didn't realize I'd been carrying had finally been lifted. But the other part, the part that remembered her laugh, her touch, the tiny habits we shared, it ached. I kept catching myself looking at my phone, expecting a text from her, hoping irrationally for some kind of explanation or apology. Of course, there never was one. Instead, there were missed calls, ignored messages, and eventually just silence. Friends and family rallied around me, which helped. My sister stopped by one evening with pizza and wine, plopped on the couch, and said bluntly, "You're not going to die over this. You're going to survive, and one day you're going to laugh at her." At first, I couldn't imagine that. But then, slowly, little things started to help. I went running again, something I hadn't done in years. I started reading books I'd abandoned. I even laughed at a stupid meme online and realized maybe my heart could still feel things, other than pain. Of course, the anger didn't disappear. Sometimes it hit like a wave out of nowhere. Seeing her name pop up in a news feed, passing by a store we used to go to together, even hearing a song we used to love. But over time, it got more like a background hum than a constant scream. I journaled a lot during this period, pouring out my thoughts, my rage, my heartbreak helped me untangle the mess in my mind. One night, I wrote, "She chose her lies. One chose my life." And it felt like the first real truth I'd spoken since everything started falling apart. Even now, months later, I still get pangs of sadness. But they don't dominate me. They're just reminders that I love deeply, and that my capacity to love doesn't end just because someone betrayed me. Looking back, I realize how many red flags I ignored. I wanted to believe the best about Lisa, even when my gut screamed otherwise. I excused her behavior, rationalized her lies, and told myself I was being paranoid. That's a mistake you'll never make again. Intuition is rarely wrong. I also learned that some people aren't capable of honesty or empathy, no matter how much you love them. Lisa wasn't just selfish, she was manipulative. She lied to me constantly, gaslighted me when I confronted her, and somehow made me feel like the unreasonable one. Recognizing that is painful but liberating. Another big lesson. Grief and anger can coexist with healing. I don't have to be happy to move forward. I don't have to forgive her or understand her. Accepting that I can feel rage, sadness, and relief all at the same time helped me stop torturing myself emotionally. And finally, I've learned the importance of reclaiming my own life. Rebuilding routines, spending time with people who actually care, and investing in myself. Not someone who lies to my face. Is crucial. If I could give advice to anyone in a similar situation, it would be this. Trust your instincts, gather evidence if you need it. Don't let anyone convince you that you're overreacting, and most importantly, take back your life. You deserve honesty, respect, and love. And if someone can't give that to you, the problem isn't you. After the dust settled with the divorce filings, I realized that moving on wasn't going to be a dramatic, cinematic moment. It was going to be a series of tiny, deliberate steps. I started with the basics, clearing out the house of her things, rearranging furniture, reclaiming spaces that had felt hers for years. It was small, physical gestures, but each one felt like reclaiming a little piece of myself. I also leaned heavily on friends. There were nights of long conversations, bad takeout, and alcohol-fueled venting sessions that helped me process the rage and heartbreak. I even reconnected with hobbies I'd abandoned, hiking, playing guitar, even a photography class I'd always wanted to try. Dating? Not yet. Not because I'm bitter, though there's plenty of that, but because I needed to feel solid on my own first. I've learned that rushing into another relationship before healing is just handing someone else the pieces of your broken heart. And slowly, I started noticing changes. I laughed more easily. I slept better. The weight of betrayal didn't disappear, but it didn't dominate me anymore. The world didn't feel hostile or unfair. It felt mine again. Most importantly, I started trusting myself, my instincts, my judgment, my ability to recognize toxic patterns. That, more than anything, is something Lisa tried to take from me, and she failed. Here I am, almost a year later, sitting in my new apartment with my dog at my feet and a sense of calm. I never thought I'd feel again. The pain doesn't vanish entirely. Anniversaries, certain songs, even random smells can trigger it. But it's no longer a constant, crushing weight. I've reclaimed my life. Looking back, I see the journey for what it really was. A brutal but necessary wake-up call. I learned to trust my instincts, to demand honesty, and to recognize that some people aren't capable of giving what you deserve. Lisa's betrayal shattered my world, but it also forced me to rebuild it in a way that truly reflects me. Not her, not anyone else. My advice to anyone going through something similar: trust yourself. If your gut is screaming, listen. You're not overreacting. Document things if you need to. It's not about revenge, it's about clarity and protecting yourself. Lean on your support network. Friends, family, even a therapist. People who actually care about you. Allow yourself to grieve and to rage. These feelings are natural. You can't skip them if you want to heal. Rebuild intentionally. Take control of your life again, your space, your routines, your passions. Most importantly, remember that betrayal isn't a reflection of your worth. It's a reflection of the other person's choices. And once you accept that, you can start to live again. I don't know if he'll ever fully forgive Lisa, And honestly, I don't think I need to. What I do know is that I'm stronger, wiser, and more certain of what I deserve than I ever was before. Life moves on, and now so do I. Thank you for listening to my story. Click the like button, subscribe to this channel, and have a good day, everyone.